Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Fortune Fairy Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge. This is one of the 3 new decks that was released with the Battles of Legend booster pack. The Fortune Fairies focus around special summoning themselves after drawing them into your hand. So it's a very interesting take on Carmine's deck from Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds. I never actually thought we'd get these cards. They are always like kind of tarot cards that she would use to predict her fortune. But I really do like the take they made on the deck, obviously. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the monsters, I want to run 3 Fortune Fairy Hikaris, so excuse me for my 1 proxy. I do think it is fitting until I get my 3rd Fortune Fairy Hikari. Sadly, I was only able to pull 2 from my boxes, but it is one of your main go-to monsters. When you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand, and if this card is special summoned from the hand, you could target 1 monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 level 1 spellcaster monster from your deck. You can only use each effect of Fortune Fairy Hikari once per turn. So obviously you can special summon Fortune Fairy Hikari off of herself, giving you more resources to go for with the deck. Now the special summon definitely does make it so you want to run max amounts of your Fortune Fairy monsters in the deck, just so you'll obviously draw them with each of your draws and then special summon them out onto the field. It's a once per turn effect though, so you also have to rely on a little luck with each of the Fortune Fairies to make sure you draw the appropriate one with the amount of draws you can do each turn. And I also run 3 of the Fire one, Fortune Fairy N. This is the level 2 Fortune Fairy. With this one, when you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand, and if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can target 1 set card your opponent controls, destroy it. You can only use each effect of Fortune Fairy N once per turn, but once again, an easy special summon, and also, as you can see, the Fortune Fairies don't really have that much attack power on their own, but just having the set destruction effect with N definitely does come in handy to take care of a lot of problematic cards your opponent may have with their deck, so being able to rely on this card for that destruction definitely does help when you need to clear out some pesky back row if you want to go crazy with the draws, so you can special summon out all your different Fortune Fairy monsters out onto the field. And I also run 3 Fortune Fairy Hue. With this one, the level 3 Wind Fortune Fairy. When you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand, and if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can target 1 of your banished spellcaster monsters, add it to your hand, and you can only use each effect of Fortune Fairy Hue, or Who, I think it might be, once per turn. So the shuffle, the add back with Who definitely does come in handy. Once again, just going off of the special summon and just the reliance on this card to recycle your cards is another key part of the deck for sure, since we also have options to special summon out the Fortune Fairies with other spells in the deck aside from just drawing them and then special summoning them from the hand, of course, as well. And then for the level 4 Fortune Fairy, we run 3 Fortune Fairy Sui, with this one being the water monster. When you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand, and if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can target 1 other face-up monster on the field, banish it until the standby phase of your next turn. You can only use each effect of Sui once per turn, so just having this banish option as one of your options for the banish is an option to choose when you go for Fortune Fairy Who, especially going each one of them in succession with each other for their different effects is a definite key play to go off of with the deck for sure. Just having the level 4 also gives us more options for summoning with the deck as well for the X deck, and just relying on the X deck for a lot of other key plays as well definitely does come in handy and is important for the deck. We have 2 Fortune Fairies left onto the level 5 Fortune Fairy On. With this one, when you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand, and if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can banish 1 spellcaster monster from your deck. You can only use each effect of Fortune Fairy On once per turn. So this is definitely one of the key ones to go for with Fortune Fairy Who, since it adds the banished spellcaster monster to your hand, just giving you more of a power base to go off of, especially with On and Who working together for the add back. With Sui having that kind of power as well, but having the target 1 face-up monster on the field banish can protect, or if your opponent, obviously Fiendish Chain the card, or obviously if they don't do that, Effect Veiler, or just some other card to stop the play from going off, or just, limiting that monster. You can at least banish it with Sui, but On has a little more consistent banish with its own effect, being able to then consistently get it back with your Who into your hand to reuse with other cards. And then lastly, for the Fortune Fairies, I run 3 Fortune Fairy Chi. This is the strong level 1, I would say. They all have the same attack and defense, obviously, but being the higher level 1, when you draw this card, you can reveal it and special summon it from your hand. If this card is special summoned from the hand, you can make each player draw 1 card. You can only use each effect of Chi once per turn, but that draw with all the other Fortune Fairies we run in the deck is your best play to go for, since it can obviously get you another special summon onto the field. So Chi can just easily extend your plays on and on with that draw power. Just remember, it is obviously the once per turn like all the other Fortune Fairies, so you have to make the best of the draw, and hopefully don't obviously get Chi off the draw, because then you won't be able to special summon her. And then lastly, for the monsters, I'm just running 2 Effect Veilers. It's a hand trap, but also an option for your Fortune Fairy Hikari, being able to special summon it to the field, giving you an additional monster and also a tuner at that to work with when you have your extra deck for options to go for your plays also with the deck. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 Unacceptable Result. This is the quick play spell card. If you control a spellcaster monster, special summon 1 Fortune Fairy from your hand. So this is one of the easiest ways to special summon out the Fortune Fairies to the field. Being a quick play spell card also comes in very handy on your opponent's turn. Being able to use cards like Fortune Fairy N to pop their set spells that they may have, or traps obviously on the field, by special summoning this card out from the hand with this card, or benefiting from any of your other Fortune Fairy cards, especially for that draw power off of Chi, you name it. 3 Unacceptable Results gives you that option also to special summon the ones you may have already opened up in your hand and haven't drawn, so then you can go off of their special summon still from the hand and not have to rely on drawing them for the special summon. I also run 3 Lucky Loan. You target 1 Fortune Fairy monster you control, special summon 1 spellcaster monster from your hand or deck whose original level is 1 level lower than that monster. Also, during your next turn after this card resolves, you can out normal or special summon monsters except spellcaster monsters, and you can only activate 1 Lucky Loan per turn. So that limit is one thing you have to remember with this card for the special summon with this, but it's also during your next turn after this card resolves, so remember that as well. With the Lucky Loan, I guess that really does take on the name of the card being a loan after all, but it's another easy way to special summon your Fortune Fairies, and the different level ones at that, depending on which ones you have on the field. So having the higher ones is definitely beneficial to the deck and all the different special summon effects you want to get off. And then lastly, for the Fortune Fairy spells, I run 3 Miracle Stone. With this one, you can only control 1 Miracle Stone. All spellcaster monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense for each Fortune Fairy monster you control with a different name. And once per turn, when an attack is declared involving your Fortune Fairies, you can draw 1 card. So having the draw power especially does come in handy with all the different Fortune Fairies, but having different ones on the field just really, stacks their attack more and more. Having 5 gives you a load of powerful monsters on the field also to go up against your opponent, and just raising the attack of all spellcasters definitely does help for some other spellcasters we obviously run in the deck as well. And then for just a little more generic support to help us out with the deck, I run 3 Wonder Wand. You equip only to a spellcaster monster, it gains 500 attack. And if you control the equipped monster in this card, you can send both to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. So with this, you have the option just for more draw power, especially with the deck, which definitely does help just for the fact that you don't have to do it off the draw phase for your Fortune Fairies. You can just make it so these cards excuse me about that, just giving you that draw power more and more. Like I said, I didn't really want to run Pot of Desires and banish important cards off of that card, but Wonder Wand definitely does give you essential draw power with having one on the field, equipping it, and then being able to get more effects off and just going through your deck quicker as well. Same goes for Spellbook of Knowledge. You send to the graveyard either 1 spellcaster you control or 1 other spellbook card from your hand or face up on the field except Spellbook of Knowledge. If you do draw 2 cards, you can only activate 1 Spellbook of Knowledge per turn. So obviously you're going to go for the spellcaster you control for the draw 2 cards. It's just more and more draw power that definitely does come in handy for the fact that all the monsters are spellcasters in the deck, so you can make great use of this card especially. And also the field spell, which I run 3 Secret Village of Spellcasters. If only you control spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate spells. If you control no spellcasters, you cannot activate spells. So also, you don't have to rely too much on spells to special summon one out. So if your opponent does clear your field, you can always just draw a Fortune Fairy and then special summon it out that way. So at least you'll have the options to then use spells afterwards with Secret Village being on the field. But it definitely does shut down your opponent for what they can do on the field with their spell cards. And to finish off, I run 1 Upstart Goblin and 1 Regeki, with Regeki being very good to combo with your Miracle Stone, clearing your opponent's field so you can attack with all your buffed up Fortune Fairies, and Upstart Goblin giving your opponent life points for that beneficial draw that could definitely help you, is why I like to run that card as well. And then for the extra deck, I tried to just run it as generic as possible. There isn't really a card to go for the Fortune Fairies. So just like I said, generic. Acacia Magician is a spellcaster, obviously, so good to go for there in that situation. 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Land Fornicus, 1 Security Dragon, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Topologic Trisbana, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, 1 Topologic Bomber Dragon, 1 Borolo Dragon, 1 Boral Sword Dragon, and then for Exceed options, I run the 1 Sylvan Princess Sprite, 1 Leviair, and 1 Abyss Dweller. When you can make them with the same ones you have on the field, they do help for some situations. And then for the tuner, you can have the last spot fill in. It could be even a Spellcaster Synchro if you want, just for that limitation for your special summons. So the last Synchro spot can be up to you for what you want when you do summon out Effect Veiler to your field with Hikari for more special summon plays. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I'm definitely planning to get out more and more decks from the Battles of Legends, so look forward to that. Until next time, like I said, Kira Twig out.